Welcome back to the Garlic Marketing Show. We're going to talk Amazon sales, growing Amazon store. It is exploding. It is a huge opportunity. I've got an incredible guest, Brian Burt from Canopy Management. But before we get started, remember this is brought to you by StoryCruise.com, the ultimate resource for finding videographers and editors and marketing resources that know marketing and don't just shoot pretty videos. Go to StoryCruise.com to find those videographers. All right, Mr. Brian Burt, Canopy Management, thank you for joining us.
Hello, sir. Ian, thanks for having me. And now I'll forever remember how to pronounce your name. You said it's like Brian without the bro.
Without the bro.
Yeah.
I'm bro free. I want to talk about what's going on at Amazon. Obviously, you feel it's still a huge opportunity. I guess it's like anything 10 years ago was probably a bigger opportunity, but still a lot of opportunity. Mm-hmm. And what's working right now for people and for stores and for brands. But let's talk a little bit about how you got into this, because I always love to hear the story of how people got into marketing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that sexy. I've been a digital marketer for 20 years, and I got into Amazon in 2014. Mostly just spinning my wheels in the mud for a long time. I had another agency that was an SEO agency. We'll never do that again. But in 2014, I had just gone through this giant, while I had the SEO agency, I had it, if you know anything about SEO, Google gives all of their totally devastating updates, these really cutesy little animal names. So this is like October. I remember the day, October 14th, 2013. Penguin 2.1 hit the scene, and overnight 95% of my clientele had been either wiped off the first page to like the 60th page, or they were completely disavowed from Google, which means Google just removes you completely. So it happened at about 3 a.m. and I woke up to just a nightmare. Lost 95% of my clients, had to let my whole team go. And I said, I'll never have an agency again. I'm going to switch gears and move to e-com. Really hesitancy to moving to e-com was, I didn't want to hold my own inventory and have a warehouse. And I think, that was a big impediment for me to get into any type of e-com. And then FBA rolled around with Amazon, where they hold all your inventory. Literally, you never see it. It goes from China, if you're doing third-party white labeling, to Amazon FBA. They handle all the returns. They handle everything for you. I was like, this is brilliant. Effectively, it's digital marketing still, and it can be done from anywhere. So I talked to a friend who I was kind of coaching at the time, and I said, listen, everything just blew up. Shit hit the fan. And how in the heck are you making $250 to $350 a month right now selling cell phone cases on Amazon? He said, well, I'll tell you what, you teach me a little bit of this, I'll teach you a little bit of that. It was a great exchange. The student had become the teacher. And the teacher, I had become the student. And then, he helped me really figure out supply chain and the Amazon ecosphere itself, and how to win. So I started with selfie sticks, of all things, in 2014, right?
So that was a good time for them.
Man, it was like the right time, the right place, and the right product. Like I was in the center of the Venn diagram. So went really well. I quickly was able to expand the SKU line into the pet category. I was doing about $350 to $500 a month. I was on top of the world, and it was going really, really well. And since then, I've been really lucky to. I've hosted over 500 webinars teaching the subject. Have been flown around the world speaking about Amazon. And then most recently, in mid-2018, I launched Canopy Management, which is a full-service Amazon management agency.
Love it. I love it. I mean, what a background. I mean, that's a great story. And it's funny you were talking about SEO, because I was literally on a conversation earlier, another podcast that we were recording, and talking about SEO. And I'm like, the worst part about doing SEO is always waking up in the morning, not knowing what's going to have happened overnight, because it's like your business can be gone. And there you go. I don't mean to laugh about it, but it was, I mean, we still do some of it, but it's not, that's the thing. It's like, you rely on that. You just never know when Google's going to go and change everything.
Yeah. I call it the Google bitch slap.
Oh yeah.
I got thoroughly bitch slapped by Google.
Yeah. It was always scary, because there was the Florida one in 2005, and yeah, so many people I know, the phone starts ringing and it's like, what is going on? What is going on? Phone's not ringing. On the other hand, we had a few clients that the opposite happened to, and all of a sudden, like, their business blew up, and they're like, "You're the best thing ever."
Yeah, the small fraction of them that it's good for, right?
Yeah, for the most part. But Amazon, tell me, I want to get into some of the techniques that you're using now, but where do you see the opportunity right now in Amazon?
I don't know if you follow any of the kind of e-commerce economists, but Bloomberg and a lot of these other guys, they report on e-commerce pretty regularly. And recently they've started talking about the COVID effect. And the COVID effect, accelerated Amazon in their estimation by 6 to 7 years, and the same with the entire e-commerce space. Right. So, I mean, think about it. Like, my mom used to go down the street to her grocery store to interact and see people and meet her friends, and they'd go shopping together. She just told me she's never going to go to the grocery store again, vaccine or not. Right. So she's like, that's great. I didn't realize I could order food. I can order toilet paper. I can order toothpaste. A lot of people didn't realize that. I think it was just less ingrained pre-COVID that you could literally live in your desk chair if you wanted. Yeah. And so now it's, we're just 6 or 7 years accelerated. So it's a great place to be on Amazon. I think we're in the midst of an e-commerce revolution. I think Amazon is in the epicenter of that revolution. And it's fun to be a spearhead in the epicenter of a revolution, which is where I think we are right now.
It is. I don't think anyone is not on Amazon at least twice a day, right?
Yeah. I mean, so I've been really lucky, man. I've made a lot of good relationships with some of the top brass over at Amazon, and it is wild, some of the metrics that they share with me. An average Amazon user in the US will visit 60 plus different pages per visit. So different products just to view per visit, which is wild, because they spend roughly about 18 seconds on a product detail page. So an Amazon visitor has 18. So you got 18 seconds to sell somebody something on Amazon.
That's amazing. On a wider scale, it's training people to do everything that way, right? We're all expecting everything in the world to be like Amazon now. It's amazing. If I'm a brand or I'm a person looking to get on Amazon, where, or improve my Amazon, where do we get started?
Yeah. So, it's good to understand the fundamentals. I think a lot of people overcomplicate it, as anyone does with anything that is good. But you've got to come back to the shooting and dribbling, right? So the fundamentals are really 3 pillars. And this is the way I describe it on Amazon. It's, you've got to have a listing that converts. So think about that, like your website, right? That's where people come and they make a purchase decision. You can influence how often people make a purchase decision, or otherwise known as conversion rate, right? So you've got to focus on really fantastic imagery, benefits, not features, price competitiveness. Social proof is huge, right? So the review rating that you have, how well you treat customers. And at the end of the day, you've got to have a good product, right? You can't outmarket a bad product. So that's kind of our pillar 1. It's make sure that you're converting traffic that you send to your product detail page or your listing. Pillar 2 is drive targeted traffic. So Amazon, you may know, you may not know, but they have their own native ads platform, very much like Facebook or Google. In fact, it used to be called the duopoly, right? It was like Facebook and Google owned the entire paid advertising space. Now it's really kind of being referred to as the triopoly, because Amazon represents 7.5% of all ad dollars spent right now.
Wow. I mean, 7.5% doesn't seem like a lot, but when you think about all ad dollars, e-commerce was, internet digital marketing 8 years ago was 7% of all ad dollars.
Good point. Yeah, man. And so for them to come up, to put that in perspective too, this is interesting. To put that in perspective, 2019, they reported $2.1 billion spent natively on the Amazon platform within their it's called sponsored products, within sponsored products. They're predicting by 2025, it'll be closer to $61 billion spent on their ads. And that prediction was made pre-COVID. So it might have accelerated even past that. I haven't checked it lately.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that puts really, then you've got the trifecta. You've got Google, Amazon, and and Facebook, of course.
Paid advertising is one of those things that I think so many people get wrong across the board. What is the key to great Amazon ad campaigns?
Yeah, that's a really great, and we're still kind of talking pillar two. I want to get to three, but
Yeah.
Great Amazon ad campaigns are exploratory. Amazon doesn't tell you a lot about your visitors. They don't disclose a lot of their user information. So whereas on other platforms you can do targeting or pull versus push traffic, on Amazon you've got to build experimental campaigns and really explore your audience via keyword interaction, right? So what are people clicking on? How are you driving traffic? Is it converting or is it not? And it gets a little bit nuanced down the hole, but just a high level view is define your audience. And the only way to do that is through just spending cash, really, and learning how to run experimental campaigns. I'm very lucky. My business partner that I started Canopy with, his name is Brian Johnson. Brian is kind of known as like the godfather, of all things Amazon PPC, right? So he was one of the first. He's the OG in the space. We've been friends forever, and he's always managed my accounts for me, which has been brilliant. But he's pioneered a few different methodologies. He's got a 9-step process. Actually, now it's a 10-step process. It's very much the basics of how to be successful on Amazon ads. And without going too deep into that, it's really just about exploring your audience through keywords.
I know you've got a few different things. They've got an amazing website. Just go to canopymanagement.com. You'll be able to check it out. There's a lot of amazing information on there. We'll put that in the show notes if you're watching on YouTube. Obviously, click below. So third pillar, before I'm going to ask you more about the rest of this.
Yeah. So the third pillar really for us is DSP. And this is a brand new advertising platform within Amazon. So I'm sure you're familiar with DSP. It stands for Demand Side Platform. And you can kind of think of it like Google Display Network, but for Amazon. You manage it through the Amazon network. So for the first time ever, you're able to retarget visitors that have hit your product detail page and not made a purchase decision. And you can retarget them outside of the Amazon ecosphere. So basically, any website that's built on AWS, which is like all of them, you can retarget on those sites now. So it's a fundamental game changer in the way Amazon is doing business. And we're seeing just ridiculous ROAS, or return on ad spend there now, which is, upwards of 9 to 12x.
That's phenomenal. Well, you think about it, if someone spends 18 seconds, I can't tell you how many things I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy that. And then boom, cat comes over, boom, son's here. Yeah. And then I'm like, what was that thing I was buying? And then, my wife puts 10 things in the shopping cart and kicks it out. And then I'm like, I don't remember what I bought. I love retargeting and any type of retargeting. And it's so amazing how few companies really get that right. Is it just showing the product again? Or are you doing other things, anything differently?
Yeah, you've got a lot more creative freedom there, right? So you can do graphic design, whereas with most Amazon ads, you're really just subject to their ability to put you in front of their audience. But with DSP, you can do graphic design, you can do video retargeting, you do all kinds of really cool things that up until just a few months ago weren't available.
Wow, I didn't know you can do video retargeting on that.
Yep.
What are you all doing with the video retargeting and the products? Is it just product demonstrations?
Yeah, absolutely. So product demos are great. I'll tell you a funny story. We had early on, we had a guy that had a very strong Indian accent, and he just did retargeting him with a screen share, talking over the screen share, and had like a 7x ROAS from that. A strong Indian accent too. So it's basically just, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be hyper creative with your DSP retargeting. You just have to do it, and it works.
That's phenomenal. And sometimes it's something that's different, and it's trying stuff out. When you're doing these ad campaigns, you're doing all this stuff at once? Tell me, you've got a process obviously for doing it. How are you, when you walk into a product and saying, okay, you've got your listing, are you just going through those pillars, or do you have an entire team look at different pieces at once? And, how do you figure that out?
Yeah. So if we take on a new, we call our clients partners. It's kind of the way we look at it. So if we take on a new partner, it's very fundamental first, right? So you've got to have those pillars in place, and they're almost chronological. Think of them that way. So we won't move to paid advertising until our listing is converting extremely well. And I think that's it's another interesting point. On Amazon, an average conversion rate is 16%. In the US globally, or not globally, but of all products, of all categories. If you were to conglomerate them together, 16% is the conversion rate. Where you compare that to like a Shopify, what's a good conversion rate on a Shopify store?
I mean, awesome. It's like 8%.
8.
Awesome.
Right.
I mean, you're usually in the 4 or 5% round.
Right. So, you've got this 3x multiple, and we have some products that we represent that are in the 70 or 80% conversion rate on Amazon, right? It's totally not unheard of. So the first thing we want to do is really build a listing that converts. Second thing so we call it the Ferrari, build the Ferrari. Then once you've got the Ferrari, you don't put like 83 grade gas in it. You're going to put 105 petrol, right? So you've got to put high octane gas into your Ferrari. So that's where we start driving traffic and highly targeted traffic. Through a number of different ways: sponsored brands, sponsored products, headline search, product display ads. Once we get that tuned up and we learn enough about what's working, that's then sequentially when we move over to DSP. So it is kind of a chronology, right? You've got to put one foot in front of the other. It's paint by numbers. That's how we find success for my own brands. I still sell on Amazon. I buy brands and turn those around sometimes. That's a whole nother business. But it's very much, paint by numbers.
I talk about fundamentals all the time, and it's fundamentals that win games. It's fundamentals, John Wooden's one of my favorites, and 10 NCAA championships started with tying your shoes. And
yes.
Talking about that listing, it's like, and if you're not an Amazon buyer, right, Amazon seller right now, that listing's like your homepage, and people don't get that messaging down and don't get those fundamentals down. There's also, you look at websites and how they've changed over the years. What's new in that optimized listing? What are some of the things that you're doing that are possibly different or to stand out? Or is it making it look like everything else?
Yeah. So first things first, if people, you eat with your eyes, you buy with your eyes, right? Mm-hmm. Things first, your product imagery has to be fantastic. Now we've tested, in some cases, photography is the right way to go. And you want to spend the money. I think people cheap out on that a lot of the time. A good photographer can run you $7 grand, $10 grand sometimes. It's a heavy expense, but so worth it in the long run, right? That's absolutely, you're going to win the race. You need the fastest car. But we've gone another route recently, and for the products that warrant it, we're actually doing 3D renders, so CAD design. And our render team is so good that it looks like an impossibly good photo. Like, how did somebody get a photo that's that good? What lens were they using? We have people ask questions like that. What lens is that? What kind of lighting system do you have? We've done leather jackets and mountain bikes. We did weighted blankets, with a really soft velvety texture. And these things it looks like the best photo that's ever been taken. So that's kind of step one. You've got to find an edge above everyone else because you're in a sea of competition on Amazon. Mm-hmm. Right. So you always want to look the best. And then from there, you want to focus on reviews. It's funny because if you ask somebody, what's going to make you sell product on Amazon, typically the answer there is price. And price is actually the third or the fourth most important piece in conversion rate optimization on Amazon. So number two is always reviews, right? So you've got to have a really strong review strategy. And the best review strategy truly is because Amazon, like Google, the algorithm is extremely smart and catches up to any kind of manipulation pretty quickly. It's like the Google algorithm, just smarter and faster.
So that's scary.
Yeah, it is. And it evolves a lot quicker. So the best way to do it is just the white hat strategy. You drive, highly targeted traffic. You have a great product. You convert a lot of that traffic. You have a great product. And then just the law of averages, you'll get reviews. They actually recently introduced what's called the review button in the dashboard. So now you can click a button on every order and it increases your review count. So it's one of the most simple things I don't see a lot of people doing, just fundamentally again. But yeah, and then from there, I think the last piece that we find that really helps conversion, well, there's a number of different things. Adding a video is huge. Adding a coupon to your listing will jump your conversion rate by 10 to 15 points sometimes, just a coupon.
Yeah.
But really, people do read as well. So you've got to be focused on benefits, not features, right? And as marketers, I'm sure you know this one, right, Ian? We FM. What's your favorite, radio station? We FM, which is an acronym for what's in it for me. So you always need to write benefits focused. And my team, I've been a copywriter for a long time, but my team, I train them to write benefits focused by leveraging the so what methodology. Right. So a blue spatula, nothing will stick to it. So what? Well, then you don't have a mess in your kitchen. So what? Well, then you don't have to clean it up. So what? Well, then you save a lot more time and don't have such a headache. There you go. There's the benefit. Right. So you ask, so what, over and over and over, and eventually you get the benefit.
That's, I always, the way we do it is like 5 levels of why. You keep asking why, like a 5-year-old till until you get that there. But once again, it's such a fundamental that people skip. They're like, oh, we've got the best, this, no matter what in marketing. And I just can't drive it home enough. And then you can't overwork these fundamentals, can you?
You can, but you can overlook them. And there's, I'm sure if anyone's aware of the Amazon space right now, every time you open your computer, there's another quote unquote guru out there trying to sell you something, the newest, fanciest way to make yourself a millionaire on Amazon. And some of these guys are really ridiculous.
What's the worst one? You don't tell me the name. Just
man, it's okay. Here's a rule of thumb. If anything is says ninja in the title, just avoid that at all costs. If it says AMZ anywhere, run. And if the guy looks like he is a junior in high school, probably not the best person to listen to. Just in my opinion, I don't know. That could just be an old guy saying it. I did just turn 30, so.
Nope. There's yeah. It's like how many mistakes you have to make before you actually know what you're doing. All right. And that's, that was for me on a side note was, because back in the day, I saw that when I worked for a hedge fund, the kid traders that made a ton of money in the first month, always, they knew everything and they never got back up. And so just, be careful of those people. No offense to the young people, but
some people, I know some young people that have done incredibly well. Typically they're not, talking about it though.
No.
Right. That's another red flag.
Yeah.
About it too much.
Yeah. I had one store, so I'm now an expert, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard it called entrepreneurial cycling. So you've got to cycle 3 or 4 times before you find a real true home run success of a business. And I think that just comes with getting your ass kicked and learning the lesson the hard way. Right.
Yep. Yeah. And we all look to Facebook and go, well, they did it right off the bat. I'm like, yeah, kind of. But they got it's a unicorn, right? Unicorn.
They certainly do exist. But, if you're playing, that's like playing the lottery, man.
Yep. No, I think this is a great point. So now, obviously, the best tip if someone wants to really grow their Amazon store fast is call you guys. But well, that's why I have the experts on. It's like, here, come listen to the experts, go do some of the stuff that they tell you to do and realize how difficult it is, and then come hire the expert. But if you're going to give one tip right now, is it DSP? What's the one thing that people should go do right now to help growing their store?
Yeah. You go, because I look at this chronologically, it's listings, PPC, DSP.
Yep.
There's a lot of nuance in between and whatever, but fundamentally that's it. Look, start at the beginning, right? So go back and look at your conversion rate. So on Amazon, it's actually called unit session percentage, or USP, not CRV, right? Or CVR or whatever, right? It's USP. It's It's a percentage of how many unit sessions you have that convert into sales. So I would take a look at that and start tracking it. I would roughly estimate less than 1% of the Amazon sellers I've ever talked to, taught, coached, managed, whatever, have ever A/B split test even their main image on their listing. Their hero image, the number one image that everybody sees. Most sellers have never even split tested that. And if they did, they might have given it a month's effort. That's something that if you do that consistently over time, you will win. I don't care. I mean, provided you have a good product, you will win. You know, it's one of these things that the entire algorithm, the A9 algorithm, which is luckily not a cute animal name, is fundamentally built around one philosophy, and it's. I say this all the time. It is our company mantra, and I always feel like I need the bouncy ball at the bottom of the screen. But it's when you make Amazon money, you make more money, right? When you make Amazon money, you make more money because the algorithm is written around one core tenet, and that core tenet is called sales velocity, right? So how much you sell in what period of time. And the higher your sales velocity, the higher you rank for the keywords you've told Amazon are profitable.
Yeah.
That's it. That's as simple as I can make it. So working on your conversion rate, that is the core, that is the brother of sales velocity, right? And those two fundamental elements are what the A9 algorithm is written around. So I know it's a little dorky and nerdy, but that's, if you understand that, if you understand that philosophically, then strategically you can make the right decisions in your Amazon business, and win. So go back, optimize the heck out of your listing. That would be my one tip.
Yeah. I mean, it comes back, same thing with Google, right? People always would be like, oh, I'm going to do this trick and this trick and this trick. I'm like, listen, Google has one thing. They want the best customer experience possible when someone searches. And, and if you provide that and give the best information, you are going to win. And they're like, well, I'm going to do this thing and this thing and this thing. I'm like, you understand? I mean, between Google and Amazon, they employ like 60,000 of the world's smartest people. And
they're like the super hive mind. Do you think you're going to beat them with this one trick?
Yeah, no, they're going to find you and they're going to beat you down. Or you can just be like, oh, I'm going to help you make money and you're going to help me make money. It's as simple as that. I love that. But it comes back to fundamentals. This is awesome. Awesome. So working with you, tell us about how we work, how someone would want to work with you, who you work with. I mean, it's obviously Amazon sellers, but like what types of products? Is it all products?
Yeah, we are, we're very fortunate. My team at Canopy now is nearing the 100 mark. So we're almost 100 people on the team and growing quick. We work, because we're so large now, we work in every category on Amazon and every marketplace globally that Amazon has a store in. So, we're everywhere from Germany to Japan and everything in the UK and the US and everything in between. So we have a solution for nearly every Amazon seller out there, whether that's getting the listing optimized perfectly or running really highly targeted traffic or DSP. We have a right size package for everybody.
Love it. Brian's a cool guy, so probably a cool team. So give them a call.
I take zero credit. My team, it's all my team. They are phenomenal.
Well, obviously, I mean, it comes from the top. I talk about this all the time. It's like when I have a bad experience someplace and I'm frustrated, I'm like, I'm not frustrated at that person. I'm frustrated at the management. I'm frustrated at the person above them, the management, because it all comes down. They let that person be that way. So vice versa, you build a good team that way. So awesome. And you just go to canopymanagement.com and you're on LinkedIn. I'm sure that's a great place to follow you. We'll put a link to that in the show notes. People can reach out. But Brian, thank you so much for being on. This has been fun. This is exciting. And, and it's a huge opportunity for people. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. And looking forward to connecting with the audience too. So
yeah, make sure to reach out. If you got an Amazon store, reach out to him. And, or if you're thinking about it, give them a call. But I know some of my Amazon friends will be giving you a call.
Nice.
But thanks again to you, Brian, and thank you all for taking Brian and I on your journey. This has been Iron Garlic and the Garlic Marketing Show.